Hi, and welcome to A Drummer's Guide to, the podcast all about the things that it takes to be a professional musician, aside from actually playing your instrument. We kind of take that as a given over this way. My name is Emily Dolan Davies. I am a drummer by trade, and I've been lucky enough to be professional for the last 18 years, touring, recording, making a general nuisance of myself. And I like to try and share my experiences to hopefully give some insight into the things that it takes, funnily enough, that not a lot of people are talking about, to be honest. But anyway, today I'm aiming to do kind of a mini episode, if you like. As if. I used to do mini episodes, I feel, but no, that hasn't happened for a while. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about, it's really interesting for me. So I sort of started leaning into this coaching, mentoring thing as of, when did I start really leaning in? Probably in May, I think, of 2024, and depending when you're listening to this, I don't know. But yeah, I really started leaning into that. And as you know about me, I'm someone that when I do something, I am all in. I'm all in, and I know that about myself. And I also know that in terms of like working with people, with students, I knew that relationship to, whether you want to call it teacher-student, mentor, mentoree, coach, student, whatever, is a very sacred relationship to me. Is something that if I were to choose to do it, I wanted to really commit myself, because I think as someone helping guide someone, you need to be there for them. You can't just nip off on tour for a couple of months and not be there all of a sudden. I'm uncomfortable with it. It doesn't work for me. So I knew that I had this period of time, and I was like, right, I can indulge in this. Turns out I love it. It's awesome. It's so good. But the reason that I sort of preface this episode with that is that I wanted to talk about the most common misbeliefs, is what I'm calling them, that I have been coming across fairly consistently, and I find it fascinating, like absolutely fascinating. Not only that these beliefs exist, but also that so many people seem to have them. So I just wanted to debunk them, I suppose. And just, do you know what? It's not even about debunking them, because just because I say that they're not right, it doesn't make them not right. It's just my experience and my thoughts on them. So you can tell me if you disagree, that's fine. I really don't mind. It's just my experience. That's all this ever is. It's never about me telling you what to do. I'm just here to offer some alternative options and guidance, essentially. And whether that's in more of a general way, just talking out to the masses, or whether it is through the one-on-one thing, it is what it is, or anything in between, let's face it. But anyway, let's go. So hopefully this will be a short one, maybe. Let's see. The first misbelief, if you like, that I've been hearing a lot recently and seeing a lot. I think, I'm going to verbalize these in certain ways, but obviously there's slight variations on how people say this. But it's people thinking that if I could just be as good as X person, then I will be successful. So looking at someone on their Instagram feed, if I could be as good as Chris Daddy Dave, then I will be successful. No, absolutely not. The fact that, okay, there's so much that goes into this. First of all, what is success to you? That's the first thing, because I guarantee you that your idea of success and Chris Daddy Dave's idea of success, two very different things. Not only that, ever evolving things. So what he may have deemed success at 21 is certainly not going to be what he deems success now. 100% that won't be the case. I know that because that's my experience. Me at 18, success was being on the road, earning a living from playing the drums. Like, that was it. Now, success for me is a really good quality of life and balance, and being able to do things like cook and exercise, because I've become middle-aged and I don't mind about it, okay? I'm clearly okay with it, clearly. No, but seriously, that is success to me, is being able to help people. That is success to me, is seeing other people succeed. That is success to me. It's the best thing ever. So that is the first thing that I have to say about that. Like, because you have different ideas of success, you certainly shouldn't be doing the same thing as another person. But that brings me on to my next thing. Emulating someone else to be successful is so counterintuitive. The very reason that people are successful at what they do is, I believe, and I might be wrong, on the whole, and I don't like generalizing, but I'm going to say it anyway, on the whole, they have defined what success is for them. And then they have very much looked inwards and cultivated what they are, who they want to be, and how they want to be to get to those goals. There is a not necessarily a trodden path, but there is a way, like, to reach a tangible goal. And let's say, for instance, I don't know, if a drummer wants to work with a rock artist, okay, this is a great example. Is it great? I don't know. If a drummer wants to work with a rock artist, right, and they know that, well, no, maybe they don't know, but in order to work with that artist, for me, I would be like, right, find out where people within that circle hang out, what gigs they're going to, go chat to people, go to jam nights, go play in bands that are adjacent to that artist, that band. You know, there's a way. You become a bit of a Sherlock Holmes. It's one of my favourite things about what I do, is that you kind of have to just like research and find out and then try stuff and see what happens. I love it. If that drummer then goes, right, what I'm going to do is go into the underground alternative jazz scene, playing improvisation gigs 24/7. Sorry, but those two worlds very unlikely to meet. They might, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there's no absolutes in this world, but you're not giving yourself the best chance of where you personally want to go. But again, if you're looking at someone else and what they're doing and you're like, oh, if I could just do that, then I'll be successful. It's like, no, it's just such a, I don't know, it's starting at the wrong point for me. For me, I think rather than looking outwards at focusing on other people, it could be, not should be. I don't like should, but just look internally. Take the time to think about, and look, I'm 100% guilty of this in life, right? When I start, there is something inherently uncomfortable about looking inwards for me. I don't know if you feel the same. Maybe you don't, and I'm really glad for you if you don't, but I do a lot. I find it very hard to sit with my thoughts and feelings sometimes, especially if they're uncomfortable. God, I can feel tension in myself even thinking about this. And what I do to combat that is I do things like listen to podcasts. In fact, that's what I do. I listen to podcasts. That is how I distract myself, with mad podcasts. And podcasts. I was going to say audiobooks. I'm not even doing audiobooks at the moment. It's literally just podcasts. And I'm cycling like 4 or 5. Maybe not even 4 or 5, maybe 3 or 4. But what that does is it distracts me from listening to myself. And it works in the short term, but inevitably what happens is that internal voice, or whatever it is that I'm trying to avoid, it will build up to a point that I suddenly feel really like overwhelmed and really, what's the word, like, you know, when you just can't sit still, you feel like your skin is crawling, like, what's the word? You know the word I'm trying to say. Anyway, it's that kind of, it's not frustration. What is the word I'm trying to say? Anyway, it's that sort of thing where you just feel really uncomfortable in your own skin. And I recognise it now. It's like, okay, I haven't been sitting with myself in silence for a while. I should probably do that. And I do, and it's horrible initially. But then after a little while, I'm like, oh, that's what's happening. And sometimes I do it in the form also of like driving in silence, or like, basically for me, I need silence just to reflect and just readjust and notice that maybe I've been doing something that hasn't been in line with where I'm actually trying to go. But again, there needs to be that reflection of like, where do I want to be? Because not everyone has the same goal. I often thought as a kid, I was like, you know, everyone has this same goal of wanting to be on the road and be a professional musician. Sorry, I'm now hiccuping. And it's not the case. It's not the case. I remember talking, when I got a little bit older, like late teens, I remember talking to this guitarist, Martin Wach. Hello, Martin, if you're watching. And I always remember him saying that he didn't really want to be on the road anymore, and he was sort of in his late 30s at the time, I think. And I remember just really not understanding, just being like, I cannot imagine ever feeling like that. Like, I did not understand. Let me tell you, as I sit here now, I understand. It's exhausting. It's fun. It's great fun. I love it. But it is a choice. It is a choice. But the point is that therefore, if two people will have different goals. No two people will have the same goal, and you certainly shouldn't be looking to anyone else's actions as a way to inform what you should be doing to get to an imagined goal that you have that might be the same as someone else. I can guarantee you it's not. It may seem like it's one goal. They may even say it's one goal. But I guarantee you it will not be the same. It will not, because the nature of us all having goals, it's all informed by our backgrounds, our upbringings, our experiences. So two goals being exactly the same, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So rather than focusing on others, and obviously the other thing is comparing yourself to others, not great. We all know this. It's very easy to do, and I'm sure there's some sort of sadistic psychological reason that we like making ourselves feel bad by looking at other people that do something really well, and we're like, I could never do that. I'm sure that it feeds some innate want that I don't really know. I've never really looked into it. Maybe I should. But it's really detrimental. I think focusing on what your wants and needs are, first and foremost, and then rather than comparing yourself to others, compare yourself to yourself. And what I mean by that is documenting where you're at right now. Go record a video of yourself playing to something that you are feeling good about how you play or whatever, or something that you're challenging yourself with right now, and just be gritty about it. Be gritty and be honest, and film yourself or record the audio, whatever you want, depends on your goals, and notice it. Even if it's a bit rubbish, fine, document it, then work on it, make it a goal, make it a tangible goal, and in a month's time, 6 months time, a year's time, record that same thing and look back and go, wow, look at how far I've come. Now that's all I'm interested in when it comes to comparison. That's it, nothing else. That's what I want for you, 100%. Because once you're relying on yourself, and I sort of covered this in a past episode, once you're relying on yourself, I swear to you, that is when things become interesting. That is when confidence grows. That's when you become unstoppable. It's just like, no, I can be self-reliant. I will respect and love to see. This is the other weird thing as well. I don't know about you, but sometimes in the past when I've seen people playing or doing a big gig or whatever, seeming to do something that I wanted to do, there would be pangs of jealousy and envy. That's what I'm trying to say, jealousy. Yeah, there would, and I would feel resentful. Now, that is ridiculous. Now, because I'm self-reliant, I know where I'm at, I know where I need to go, I am able to give myself feedback and grow without looking to other people. Now, genuinely, every time I see anyone online that is doing something like amazing, I'm just like, that's amazing! I'm their biggest cheerleader. There is nothing but just love and like admiration in a supportive way of like, you did that, like, yes, come on, let's go. Like, that is, it's like I said to you, it's my favorite thing is seeing people succeed. So whereas before there might have been a tinge of like, oh, I wish I was doing that, or now it's like, you go do the thing. I am here for it. And I'll tell you why, because I'm doing my thing, and I hope that same feeling is reciprocated. Honestly though, if it isn't, no problem. Honestly, like, not in a bad way, I literally don't care. I'm happy with what I'm doing, which is awesome, and it's taken me many years to get to this point. So yeah, that is my first point that I wanted to sort of like just touch on, this idea of if I'm as good as this person, then that means that I will be successful like them. No, absolutely not. I can say definitively, no, it's not how it works. Go inside, see what is success to you, and then inform yourself and go from there and become self-reliant. You will become a superhero to yourself, I promise. And your biggest hero to yourself as well, which is awesome. So the second thing that people sort of tell me, and again, I'm paraphrasing because I'm kind of like, people don't actually say this to me, but it is a concept. And that is this concept of build it and they will come. So if I just post consistently on social media, musicians will be reaching out to me left, right, and Chelsea. No, absolutely not. It's not like, I don't know what it is about at the moment. There's been a few people recently that have it in their head that by posting something, it automatically means that people are watching it And I don't understand, and maybe it's my ignorance. I don't really know. But just because you post something, it doesn't mean that everyone's like watching you. In fact, barely anyone is watching you. It's the same for me. Barely anyone watches me. But it's like a given. Like there's this, what do you call it when you have I suppose it's a belief. There's a core belief that by putting something out there, it means that everyone's going to be watching you and paying attention. Now, I don't say this flippantly, and I don't say it to be rude. I say it to empower you. Nobody cares. Like, nobody cares. I used to think that people were paying attention to me. No one's paying attention to me. A few people, like you right now, and I appreciate that. And honestly, I'm talking to you because there are a few people, and what I say hopefully resonates and helps in some way. But in an empowering way, it is very unlikely that if you just put one video out of you playing, or even if you're doing it consistently, like, it doesn't mean that you automatically will get reached out to by the musicians. It doesn't give you any right to anything, just because you do things consistently. There's so much more to it than that. Like, it's the way that I see social media. It's about like building relationships, and whether that's a relationship from afar, because I know that there are many people that do watch my stuff, but they don't comment, they don't message me, and that's fine. Hi, silent people, how are you? And whether that's because they don't feel the need, or whether that's because they're shy, I don't know. There's a number of reasons. There'll be hundreds, thousands of reasons. I was going to say millions, but that would actually suggest that there are millions of people listening to this. There are not, I can tell you that definitively. At least at this stage, who knows where we'll get to. But the point that I'm trying to make is, what is the point that I'm trying to make here? The point is, just by putting something out there, it doesn't make people reach out to you. You know what I mean? It's about creating a relationship, and whether it's a very casual one where people are just watching you and it's one way. And I mean one way, but both ways. Like, there's not the actual conscious connection, should we say. Or whether that is people then reaching out to you and you start a conversation and you start a relationship with people. Obviously, I love that. It's amazing. But then you still need someone that actually is in need of your services. Like, that is another aspect. And that is very difficult to put out there by itself. So there's other things that need to be happening in tandem. Like, I don't mean this to sound rude either, but like, there are so many people that can play an instrument well. There really are. That is probably not the reason you're going to get a gig. The reason will be the personal relationships with those that are involved in the gig, whether that's the artist personally, whether that's the musical director who's booking the band, whether that's the other musicians who happen to get on the gig and then get asked to recommend someone and then you get recommended, or maybe it's management. All those scenarios I have experienced, and more, obviously. But it has never been about, even if it has been about putting out stuff and someone happened to watch one of my videos, for instance, The Darkness, that is how that happened. However, then they asked their crew, has anyone worked with her? Does anyone know her? Someone vouch for her. And I was lucky in that I had worked with someone by complete happenstance. But the point is, that was a very unusual situation. And just by putting stuff out there, it's just not how it works. It's just not how it works. And I find this a lot in the remote recording world as well, is this build it and they will come. If I buy all the gear, if I start doing the thing, then people will just be booking me because I exist. No, it's not like that. Not at all. You need to have some sort of reputation behind you, whether you have that already through the different people that you've worked with, or whether you create that, because it's something you can actively do also. So let's say you are posting on social media, but let's say you haven't played with any named artists, for instance, which I've been there, I've been in that position. Your focus could be still put out the content on social media, but just because you're not getting any attention, that doesn't mean you're not doing the right thing. But there's another part to it, and that would be you actively reaching out to people and then sending them to your Instagram, to they can look for themselves. They can see if they think that you're a good fit musically or personally, depending on what you're putting on your social media. But you need to bring the attention to you, basically. Like, build it and they will come is the biggest lie ever. So I hope that that kind of gives you some insight into that. You need to be proactive with reaching out to people and creating relationships. That's what this all comes down to. It's creating connections, whether that be musically or personally. That is where the career starts, and that's where it continues to go. It's about, networking as a concept feels so cold. It's not. It's building relationships and friendships. That takes time, that takes effort. Like, as my dad always says, you can be the greatest musician in your bedroom, but who cares? Who cares? There's loads of those. It becomes about personal relationships. And if you can really find a way to cultivate that, but then bring people back to the content that you're posting to show them what you do, that is a recipe for success. And that is something to focus on more than just build it and they will come. Ugh. Anyway, so that is my second misbelief that I just wanted to debunk a little bit, because it's a common one. It really, really is. Now another one that, again, this has come up. Oh, I need to uncross my legs, but my back is still twingy. So another one that is, sorry if you haven't listened to any of my past episodes recently. So today is my batching day. I'm on the 4th of 4 episodes that I'm recording right now, and I managed to do my backing a couple of days ago. Literally just getting up from the computer. It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing, so un-rock and roll. But anyway, I'm still sort of like getting over it. It's fine. It is what it is. So annoying. I was doing so well for such a long time as well. My back was in great condition. I don't know what happened, but here we are. So the third and final misconception or misbelief that I'd like to address is, again, something that has come up multiple times recently. I don't know what's in the air, but it's this idea of like, I don't want to play other musicians' parts. I just want to play what I want to play. And it's this thing of like ignoring past musicians' work. Like, I can't understand. No, actually, I can understand this. I did for a short period of time have a similar way of thinking where I didn't understand the value of learning other musicians. It's not just their parts, it's the intricacies, it's the nuances, it's the feel, it's the, if you're a drummer, the little ghost notes or the passing notes if you're playing on a melodic instrument. It's these little telltale signs that that it's that drummer or that guitarist or that bass player, and just not it's not even not acknowledging it, because I think you can acknowledge it, but almost studying it. And this idea that there's no value in that. Now look, let me put it like bluntly. I'm not saying that the goal would be to imitate another musician, because again, that kind of is in direct opposition with what I said first, which is like, if I could be as good as this person, then I'll be successful. It's not that. But if you're looking at the world's greatest musicians, and I'm not talking about necessarily technically, I always cite this as an example, covers bands, right? So you would think, or I used to think, that covers bands was a bit, man, I don't know what was wrong with me. I thought I was too good to be playing in covers bands. I was an idiot. I was a child. I didn't know what I was thinking. But let's look at this. You think about a covers band, right? You think about the songs that you play in a covers band. Those songs, some of them will have been from the 50s, the 60s and onwards, right? Those songs are still being played 50, 60 years later. Now, I don't know about you, but there has got to be something in that. There's got to be something in that longevity of the song itself, the parts, the melody, the lyrics. There has got to be something that is so, I don't know, there has to be something to be learned from that. There has to be. That is not something that happens by chance. It is not. And I'll tell you how you know that. It's by, again, if you look at a covers band set, there will be a few more modern songs that are out now or have been in the last year. they slowly drop off. But there are some songs that remain, even if you don't want to be playing them and you've played them a million times. It's like, oh goodness, but there is a reason. And for every instrument, I think there is something to be learned from parts, the way that they're played, how they work within a song, along with obviously the thing of actually, playing them in such a way that evokes a reaction from the audience, obviously. But on that base level, I think it's so important. Like, I learnt how to create drum parts from playing covers gigs and understanding how an audience member reacts to me doing certain things, and obviously what other people are doing as well. I'm not just bringing it down to me, obviously, but it's from my perspective, so there we are. I found so much value in that, and that has informed so much of what I record for people when I'm playing live, the parts that I choose to play or the parts that I emphasize or how I play them. Like, it has informed me in every way, and it has led me to be able to be successful, I guess, at doing my job. Obviously that's a live context, but I also very much studied and continue to study drummers that when I find drummers that I love their feel, I just want to understand what they're doing. Now, it's not to say that then I'm going to emulate it, but it inevitably will enter into my playing. So, for instance, I became obsessed with Steve Jordan's playing. I literally got hold of, well, not all, but as much of his discography that I could. I would meticulously go through it and just like understand where he's placing stuff and how he makes it feel so good. Now, look, I am not Steve Jordan. I cannot do what he does. Absolutely not. Do I understand it? Yeah, maybe like, I don't know, 5% of how he does what he does. But that's because I never will. Because I don't have his background. I don't have his experience. I don't. But have I gone in my own direction and his playing informed me? Yes, absolutely. And I'm proud of that. Same with Levon Helm. I studied his playing and tried to understand. Again, I probably only understand about 5% of what he plays. But yeah, things like that, it's just so important, I think, to educate yourself on the players. And I think it should be the players that you are inspired by and like, and maybe would like to sound like, because why would you study like a drummer that you're not really bothered about how they sound? I can, like, there's plenty of drummers that I really appreciate what they do, but I don't want to play like them. No, absolutely not. But there's still value in kind of just noticing, oh wow, how did they do that? That's interesting. That's education. Okay, cool. And like I say, with the players that I do really like, it's like, no, I'm going to really delve into, there's a Steely Dan song, Kid Charlemagne. I'm pretty sure it's Bernard Purdie on it. I can't be sure though. But anyway, I have studied that song for the last, I don't even know how long, 20 years? No, not that long, 15, 18 years? I still can't play it the way that I want to. I still can't get that nuance. I can't get that feel. One day I will. And it's not to say that everything I play will be with that feel, but it will inform and it will make me into the player that I want to be. And it will be my version of events with all these different influences, you know what I mean? But I think you need to emulate these things to understand them from the inside out, and then you can make a choice about how you want to play, because it's all good and well creating your own parts. I get that. I definitely get that. But wouldn't you want more material to work from and make a conscious choice of where you want the song to go, rather than being restricted by only having your own experience to draw from? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know whether this makes sense to you, but yeah, I don't understand this cutting off of experience. I refuse. I don't want to play other musicians' parts. Why not? Why not? They're clearly brilliant at what they do. Even if you think technically they're not great, they bring something to the table. They do, because you wouldn't know about them if they didn't. So if you enjoy their playing, if you want to grow in that way, whatever way that draws you into what they play, why wouldn't you emulate it so that you have it under your belt, and then you can choose to, let's say you have it in your tool belt, and if you choose to take it out, great, use it. Use their experience to further your own experience. I just don't understand it. I cannot understand. But like I say, it's a common thing that has come up for me recently with students, and I just thought, yeah, let me talk about this a little bit, because I find it interesting. And please look, if you're screaming at your, I don't know, speaker right now, tell me what it is. Tell me what it is, what the train of thought is that to not emulate. I understand that you want to be your own person. I totally get that. I used to have that fear of sort of turning into everyone else, but it's impossible. It's impossible. You cannot turn into another musician. You cannot. It's impossible. You will always be your own person, and you can choose what you let in, but you have to have something to draw from. You have to. It's like looking at artwork. It's like, you have to be influenced by people and life. You may as well be influenced by musicians in an active way, rather than like in a sort of like passive way and not addressing it, because the reality is, and that's how I felt, I couldn't be bothered to learn the intricacies of another player's parts. But once I did, I understood so much better, and I got to where I wanted to go so much quicker as well. It was just unbelievable. It was literally like a rocket boost. That, along with recording myself and listening back. If you don't do that, do that. That's been a big topic of conversation for many people I've been working with recently. And I love it. I love it. It's my favourite question to ask people, because you can really tell the people that don't and they try and talk around it. It's so lovely. But anyway, I hope that this has helped in some way. I hope that if you are sort of like, if you have had these thoughts or beliefs or whatever, they can be debunked a little bit. They might be a bit of a barrier for you that you didn't realise that you had, but maybe it can help you step over that barrier and keep moving forward, because that's all we want. Like, it's about being fulfilled in this life. Life's too short. We may as well do what we can to enjoy it, eh? But anyway, if you've enjoyed this episode, please do feel free to like, share and subscribe. And if you'd like to work with me one-on-one in a kind of coaching, mentoring type situation, then please do get in touch. I offer a few different programs at the moment where I'm either helping people get into the session world professionally, or if you're already there, I can offer some support along the way, because it's a never-ending journey of growth and, difficulty and obstacles. But I find having someone there, sounding board, and someone to be held accountable for when you need to be pushing yourself in a certain direction is a very useful thing. That's what I'm finding, at least, and I'm loving it. I'm just loving watching people succeed and getting to be your own personal cheerleader. It's my favourite thing. But anyway, please do get in touch. If you look for me on Instagram, it's probably the best place at the moment. Just look for emilydrums.com. Or you can go to emilydrums.com and get in touch there, but Instagram's probably better. But yes, anyway, I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, whatever you're up to. I have no idea if this is a short episode. I intended it to be that, but it looks like 32 minutes. Nope, fail! Oh well. Hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you next week for another episode. All right, lots of love to you. Mwah. See you later. Bye.